Welcome to this BW Wellbeing Business World broadcast on well-being. And today we have a very special, very famous guest. She kind of straddles many domains. She's been a VJ, she's been an actress, she's now a mindfulness trainer, she's an author, her book has just come out. Let me welcome Ms. Raageshwari Loomba, who to most audiences doesn't need an introduction. Welcome Raageshwari to the BW Wellbeing Show, and we look forward to having a mindful discussion with you. And congratulations on your book. She's just written a book called Building a Happy Family, 11 Tools for a Mindful, Building a Happy Family, 11 Principles for Mindful Parenting. I meet a lot of people say when I grow up, I want to be like you. But in your case, when I actually grow up, I want to be like you, Raageshwari. Why I say that? You've done everything. You've been an actress, you've been a VJ, you did some of the biggest celebrated TV shows at the time when you hosted them, and you left it all. And today you're a mindfulness trainer and an author. So tell us, how did that transition happen?
Well,
take us through. How did you get into mindfulness?
Sure. Firstly, thank you. Thank you for hosting me. Thank you for hosting Penguin, our entire team. It's lovely to be with you, dear Doc, and your amazing community. There's such a buzz that every business person is now watching us. So how wonderful. Thank you. Pranam to my elders. I want to make space for everyone who is watching us during these very interesting times, as I call them, interesting times. So yes, that's what I want children to believe, that they can do it all. You know, we are programmed, culture programs us that we can only do one thing. But I think we must try out, we must really explore, because we are limitless. That's what I believe. And my journey, of course, has been very interesting. Where do you want me to start from?
We want to talk specifically of mindfulness. I know you got married in 2014, and then you had a baby in 2016. And you dedicate your book to your parents, to your extended family, and especially then you talk about your daughter. And your book's whole premise is that children, if they're taught mindfulness early, between 0 to 7 years, they can be better human beings. And every aspect of what they do can help the community, the country. So tell us, how did this shift to mindfulness happen?
Yes, so the journey actually began 20 years back, because at the peak of my career, I had facial paralysis. And, facial paralysis came at a time where, being in the industry.
You've just done a huge tour with Coke. You were pretty much on a high, and, it suddenly came out of nowhere.
Releasing a Millennium album. So, in the midst of a hectic tour, and you just wake up and your face is lopsided, and in the visual medium where, you are sort of paid, everybody judges you for the way you look. So I went into a forced solitude period because I did not want to be seen. I was told I won't be able to sing. I could not even speak clearly. So I realized that, challenges, we as children are not taught to really enjoy challenges or to enjoy failures. And that's what, our coping mechanisms just simply collapse when there's a challenge. Coming from my background, my father worked with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. So he would talk about meditation, but I would never ever give him that due, attention. But when I was in this forced solitude, very running parallelly with what we're going through, I started to really spend time with myself. I was looking at this library of mine, all these books which I'd never ever opened because I was busy singing and, enjoying on stage. And I started my journey with this book called Alpha Silver Mind Control. And when I realized, my goodness, I can use my mind to change things. Our inner world creates an external world. Then things snowballed, I invited into my life, I would say, because I wanted that change. I wanted to know why I had attracted this facial paralysis. And that's what I talk about in my book as well, in the chapter on affirmations, that your inner world creates your external world. So my mindfulness journey began then, but it was more mind power related. And then slowly you grow, and I'm so glad that I married late and had the child late, that I knew so much about early child development. Because we as adults as well, we are children. We think we are adults, but deep down we have so many children living within us. And when I say building a happy family, even someone who's single and living by themselves, this book is for you, because you go into a meeting and there's an inner child that comes up and says, don't say that, this will not work. Or there's an inner child that says, go for it, you're going to do it. Or there's an inner child that says, don't overcommit. Or there's an inner child that says, listen, quote higher. So
yeah, chapter, the power of saying yes, something like that.
Yes, that's such a powerful mindfulness tool as well, because we mindfulness basically is living in the present. So the moment we say no, it's because we're basing our decision on a judgment. Perhaps somebody hurt us, somebody's betrayed us, and so that keeps playing in our mind and forms a decision or a judgment. So the power of yes is a philosophy I talk about in the book. I start with how many times we say no to children is unbelievable. And Panchatra 100 years ago, hundreds of years ago, would say, do not say no to a child between 0 to 7, because they are in the development stage. And so you subliminally tell them that life is all about no. Life is all about not making it happen. So try to say yes. And I know parents tell me, are you kidding me? But I said, we have turned towards no as if you're on an autopilot. So say no, but without using the word no. And then I talk about, the
we'll eat this ice cream tomorrow.
We can, yes. Like, sure, we will, like if Samaya always wants to watch TV, and I say, of course we can watch it, but how about we watch it during 6 and 6:30? That is our TV time, Samaya. So they understand. But when we say no, and then I talk about the science behind it, that, Mark Baldwin says you flash a no in front of you, even for less than a second, and it immediately kills the neurons in your brain. When I start a dialogue with you with a no, doc, you have shut off. You will never listen to what else I have.
And I want to say that I did meet her about 14, 15 years back.
With our beloved
through a common friend. She doesn't remember, but I remember. And, I shared with her that I did meet you. And then she said, you should be yourself. And, it gave me so much comfort that I could be myself and be authentic with her in my conversation off camera. Forget. And she was so welcoming of Kavi and Himani and Tanvi. So what she's saying today on screen, in the last 1.5 days, I've seen her practicing that. So it's not something that she's saying here on screen. I've seen her in action doing it. And, dare I say, I keep saying I'm a hairless, toothless infant. I think I can behave like an infant now, now that you've given me permission. But I want to play on the role of family in your early childhood. I read your book, and you talk about, you thank your father and mother, and you say, I don't remember the exact, but you say, for making us feel like we lived in splendor when we were eating food on newspaper sheets. Something like that you said, right? So, and said that was beautiful. You never made us feel incomplete, made us feel. And because I come from a middle-class family, I totally identify. When I was growing up, I never felt like I had paucity of anything, because my parents never gave me that impression that we were less than anyone.
Yes, because
so tell us the role of your family in shaping who you are and in your journey of mindfulness.
Huge. My mom, Veera, very, very simple lady. My father, worked in a government job. He won a national award. So he was, trying to make ends meet and still pursue his career in music. So, a whole lot of people can relate to that. He was following his passion, and he still knew, my goodness, I have to support my family. So, children don't come with preconceived notions. They don't come with, I want toys. They may see other friends, but if they really get love and presence of attention from their parents, and not on a full day, you don't need to do that. Even 15 minutes of deep connect with your child makes them thrive. So for me, my parents were working very hard, 2 jobs, each of them, to make ends meet, and they would leave very early in the morning. So my picture was my mama cooking rajma rice in the morning, my dad ironing me and Rishabh Bhaiya's clothes. Then, we would go to school. In the evening, they would come much later than we would. And then back to immediately cooking. So most of my conversation with my mom was when she would be cooking, and my father when he would be in the midst of recording some songs. So it's emotional, but it's beautiful. It was real. And we would spread the newspaper sheets on the floor, and we would eat in our plates, and then we would just speak the most beautiful things. There's such lovely memories. And let me tell you, my father is very strict, but it's so beautiful that he was consistent, and he is very clear, that he only was concerned about good behavior. So he was always strict about that, about my safety, me and my brother's safety, and good behavior. And my mama was and is a very nurturing, simple lady. You know, they never really told us, you've got to study, you've got to do this. The definitions of success were very different than what I see people following, or what schools teach us. That you've got to be a CEO, you've got to be owning a penthouse, you've got to look a certain way. So the success definitions were more real, and that's why failures and challenges never rattled me, because the success definition was, hey, you've got to be kind, you've got to make friends, you've got to make people happy. People will forget what you wear and what you say, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So touch everybody's life with kindness, and don't discriminate between love. And while we are taught, right, we tell our children, cuddle, cuddle, kiss, kiss, hug. And then suddenly, when they have emotional, romantic bonds, we suddenly do not wish to understand that that is an expression of love, which should be allowed, which should be nurtured mindfully.
You know, in your book, you start by saying, the children's minds are the biggest resources available to us. Why do you say this? And what could be the impact of this positive realization on parents, for the society, for the country, for the family?
Sure. How lovely. I wish you're so kind. I wish I had said that quote. Yes, it's Einstein's quote, which the book begins with that quote. And I totally understand it, because, dear doc, we take businesses so seriously when we manufacture something, because we know it's going into the market. But this is about nurturing the biggest production, which actually takes over the world. I mean, it's going to be our future. Now, hundreds of years ago, Panchatantra knew the power of children between 0 to 7, so much so that they would ask women to affirm positive thoughts to the unborn child in the womb. Gurukul was all about the inner world, creating the inner world. Today, we're teaching children everything, history, geography, math, but look at the adults, look at the problems we face. It's got to do with recovery from heartbreaks, recovery from finances. How do we accept failure and don't take it personally? How do we
addictions?
Exactly. And that is all about seeking connections, isn't it? So connect with oneself. So when we look at addictions, people say, well, the opposite of addiction is a connection. So what is it that your child wants? We say, my child is giving me a hard time. Well, let's change the perception. Someone is going through a hard time. This mindset is what we must train ourselves to have, even with adults, and we'll have brilliant relationships, because we instantly disregard someone who has a temper, who said something bad or behaving badly, because this person is probably working towards being heard. And not just children, even adults have a problem of expressing, isn't it, what we want?
In fact, we keep telling everyone that you shouldn't be who you are. We keep telling them to not be who they are.
Because we train.
And that's where they struggle.
Yes, and we train even children, right? We don't, if we see a child who is enjoying solitude, we say, my God, this poor child does not have friends. My goodness, my child is not social. No, everybody doesn't have to be. Look at a Raju Hirani, look at an Amish Tripathi. These are wonderful examples of people who really enjoy their solitude. So if your child is enjoying that, wonderful. Maybe it's a thoughtful child like an Einstein. So you must allow children their authentic expression. Yes, because we train them, right? That you've got to be good in maths, you've got to do it. And we train them from a point of the scarcity syndrome, because we think that, oh my goodness, I couldn't do this. So you better do it really well and make me proud. So in some way, we've got to, step aside and say, motivate them. Yes, do your best. But the decisions should never come from a place of, this has gone wrong in my life and that's why I want you to learn, and this could go wrong in your life, that's why I want you to succeed. No, it should be from a point of a growth mindset. That, sweetheart, I know you are brilliant and you have the genius within. Let me inspire you. Let's together do our best today. And that's how, I mean, I can see that thriving in business world as well. I mean, that's how you communicate with Kavi, with Himani, and with Tanvi. You're bringing a lot of confidence into them. And that's how that's why they thrive and your relationship grows. But interestingly, we take hierarchy seriously, right? In a
We do.
family members. While parents come up and say, but then there has to be discipline. But I say, but we we sort of take our insecurities and then camouflage it in the name of discipline. But if we have a true connect, if we truly teach children to feel equal, they're amazing. Like, I don't tell Samai not to watch TV if I'm watching it. So we've stopped watching TV. Essentially, we watch it by appointment, evenings or weekends, and so she understands that. So we have to walk that path if we want them to walk it. Because children are
Yes.
so obedient, they're like sponges.
You know, you say things that I relate with. How, you talk about mindfulness, and you said it now also. It's about being in the present, fully with you. And you say in the book also, the best gift you can give someone is your attention, your full presence. And you talk about being non-judgmental.
Yes.
Today, on the contrary, we are judgmental. Social media has made us reactive and judgmental on everything. In our jobs in business, I'm supposed to be judgmental on Kavi and know what his strengths and weaknesses are. So how do you deal with this dilemma, this oxymoronish nature of what we're trying to attempt in the business world and how we are supposed to be as individuals? So can you give us a balanced approach there?
Now, yes, a balanced approach is so important, because if we go spiritual, then His Holiness Dalai Lama says, what is judgment? It's the absence of love. And if I say that to corporates, and I speak so much with corporates, they'll be like, what are you talking about? So understand. But how about if I say, you let judgment rest, but you focus on how you want Kavi to be? There you go. So you put your energy. So energy goes where focus goes. So how about focusing on Kavi? I think you can do this. I would want you to do this. Or Himani, I think you have your, forte. You have a forte in communication, or building this amazing dialogue with people. Living in the future, we think 60,000 thoughts, and out of that 80 to 90% is repetitive and negative. And each thought has a frequency, each thought has an energy. So let's try to focus on the present moment. What can I do now to enhance my life? So judgment basically is not reviewing a person because of past mistakes, but inspiring them. That is, if you want to work with them. And if you've already made the decision that no way am I going to associate with this person, then so be it, whatever makes you happy. But if you really want to walk the path and really inspire people, with people who you wish to work with, and especially in a family module, during these times when you're stuck with people, this is what you need to practice. Let me focus. Let me raise my vibrations at home. Parents come and say, I'm so tired of with my spouse. My spouse doesn't understand me. My spouse is like this. My children don't listen to me. And I say, hear yourself. Einstein said, match the frequency of your thoughts to what you desire. That means start thinking about what you want, start behaving.
Affirmations.
Yes. And what happens is the frequency will change. And we're not taught to think scientifically, but this is true. Raise the vibration in your home. See, my spouse is amazing. Think about things that you do agree. Affirm, I would like him to be more loving, and people get clarity. While we are in confusion, I don't want to talk to you, I'm upset. But okay, what is it that you're upset about? State it, move on without judgment. So it offers freedom. And I think we're also very quick to judge, Doc, because we judge ourselves so much. I mean, ask people, walk in front of the mirror and people will, the most beautiful women, as you know, go in for such drastic measures on their face, be it men or women. And all the more it shocks me, some of the most beautiful women in the film industry. I'm like, what's happened to her face? Why would she not believe that she is perfect the way she is? So you see, it's got nothing to do with beauty or the way we look. It has so much to do with the inner self-worth, about parents, carers, teachers telling us at that young age, you are perfect the way you are. Whether you fail, I still love you. Whether you make mistakes, I still love you. And grow from that and then motivate them. The person will never let you down. And you give them that freedom to be the best they can be.
You talk about the role of music and meditation. in being mindful. And ironically, our screen time is going up. All of us are in COVID times. I
Yes.
actually spend more time on my screen than I ever did. I would jokingly say, I'm a screenager, I'm not a teenager.
Yes.
So how do you balance screen time with mindfulness?
But that's interesting because when I was speaking with you, you're someone who's read all the books about mindfulness. I mean, you know about Brené Brown, which is amazing. But Doc, what do you watch by screen time? I mean, it could be a documentary on mindfulness or something that's thought provoking. Of course, by all means, do what you like, what brings you joy. But the interesting thing is that you look at COVID times and quarantine. It makes me think of my childhood. Whenever I would do something wrong, my parents would say, go into your room, you're not talking to anyone, think about what you did. So it is time for oneself. We thought it was a
Go in,
punishment.
to
Go
go
inwards.
inside.
To go inwards. You're right. It was all about self-reflection. Children, no, let me out, very angry, very angry. And then finally we settle down. We're like, oh my God, yes, this is what I did. And then we're ready to come out. So if nature is asking us to do this, even now, because we're so used to living with distractions, right? We don't want to spend time with ourselves. Ourselves, what? Are you kidding me? Talk to myself. Swami Vivekananda said, but I don't understand this. Talk to myself. No. I want the TV. No, I'm missing my restaurants. Hey, I want to definitely go and shop. These are social distractions. These are, trappings that actually take us away from that true connect. Uh, so so it's time with oneself. That's an inner realization that will come whenever it has to. It will come. If you watch a lot of TV, you'll be like, oh my God, I've had enough. How much more?
So the constant WhatsApp, the constant social media, likes, and the fame that you
People,
chase on social media, Instagram. How do you deal with that? And you come from a fame industry. You were a acclaimed singer, VJ, actress, and then you're talking such deep things. So I want to understand how you did it and how other people can do it.
okay. Well, I get so much pressure as well, to always be uh, at a certain speed where social media is concerned. Do what's authentic, what works for you. For example, in my life, and since I've been on social media, I have so many friends in the film industry. I've never gone and told them, could you please
Follow me or
follow
like or
follow me,
like what I
or
posted.
like, because what happens is their followers are created by their energy, and I want followers that will come to my page because of my energy. Oh, that she speaks, and this is what her vision is, this is what her dialogues are all about. So it comes with time. But it also, I've been through whatever I did. I'm also 45. I don't want children who are 15, 16 to understand this. There is regulation where WhatsApp, TV, phones is concerned, but we'll have to work through it in the family. I mean, what are the rules? How are parents communicating with this? Are they all day on the Facebook and then asking children, that's enough, now it's time to study? We will have to work through it together if they are searching for this. And we all are coming from this scarcity syndrome. Not enough likes, not enough clothes, not enough homes. Name me one
Not
person.
enough money.
Gee, not one person says, I'm very happy. I don't want any more. I'm very happy. If you do that, then that's great. That's a wonderful path that you've started walking on. So children seeking connect, give them all the connect, give them the freedom. If they want to be locked in and look at Facebook, give them all the love at this time. And let me tell you how I can support you. So let's share. But mama and papa are doing the same. We cannot be busy on the phones, on the dinner table, or because papa is working and mama is working and I don't want you to WhatsApp. Sorry, children take their work very seriously too, even if it's a date that they're going for. Like parents tell me, but toddlers don't have any stress. That's why they're naturally mindful. Let me tell you, as science tells us that, toddlers, when they go through the separation anxiety, when they go to the kindergarten, they cry, they howl, the separation is too much for them. That's like a trauma. That's very much like what adults go through when we go through a trauma. So we must firstly understand that toddlers, children handle that beautifully. For them, their stress is a lot of stress too. And we can learn from them.
You talk about the role of your gurus, your master. you're lucky enough to come in contact with Jack Canfield, and he's written the foreword for your book. You also did a video CD with Louis Hay. And, tell us about the role of masters in someone's journey overall and in mindfulness. And what did you learn from Jack Canfield? What did you learn from other masters?
Wow. Well, firstly, your parents, everybody, parents are your greatest gurus for sure, because there's so much you learn with the time that you spend with them. And as you grow up, my gurus are definitely, the common man who has nothing and still smiles, someone who's in the elevator and all he's doing is going up and down, taking us to different floors. But every time you meet him, he's like, hello, how are you? I'm like, wow, are you well? So that's amazing. So I do get inspired by common people, but Jack has a huge contribution to my growth where mindfulness and mind power is concerned. And my way of talking, I'm very inspired by him. So I do talk about mindfulness ultimately, but I love to back it with science, and I love to bring mind power in. So that's why teenagers and corporates get interested when I speak, because I just don't talk about closing your eyes and, letting life take over. But Jack, the most important thing that he did for me when I recovered, and that's when he told me that you could have attracted this facial paralysis. So it shocked me, and almost didn't speak for like 2 days, continuing that conversation. He was very intelligent and wise, because he knew that I will go through that inner reflection. And then when I was rewinding my life before my facial paralysis doc, I realized, my goodness, I had gone through a breakup. It was heartbreak, my first ever heartbreak. And I was immersed in negative thinking, immersed in anger, immersed in blaming, as we all do after heartbreak. And it's so important to let that out, but let that out in a balanced way. Rather, we do it as if we are locked in chains. So we do not forgive the person. We're out to prove that we were right, the person was wrong. And we speak negatively about that person to everyone except him or her, so that we get the closure. No, we keep suffering. And what the inner world did to me was amazing, because it expressed itself there on my face. So what does facial paralysis do? It makes you feel humiliated, embarrassed, you want to hide, all of that. So if I go back, and why this interests people, because I'm speaking about it 20 years, and my parents say, please don't speak about it, because it hurts them that I've gone through that. But why it inspires people is because real life stories inspire you. And I'm saying a very important thing, that watch what you think, because your alchemy changes. Each thought creates a feeling. How is it? Because the brain produces the chemicals, it changes the alchemy, and that's how you start to get these emotions. You're emotionally engaged, especially when you're thinking negative thoughts all the time.
So I want to bring in the role of dream boards there. Explain to all our viewers, how can dream boards help you reach your dreams?
Yes.
And how does one do it?
Well, dream boards are fabulous. It's a very powerful way to shift your focus from fear, doubt, into motivation. So what dream boards are basically a vision board. What is a vision? Your desire is something you want. A vision is something that's big. It's all about people coming together. So one of my visions, say for example, on my vision board, I had working with His Holiness Dalai Lama many years ago. And I just put that up. And then there you go. I did Tibetan rites and then had an opportunity to meet him. So I would always put pictures about people that I wish to work with. Now, it doesn't matter if I work with exactly the same person, but what happens is, what you consistently see programs your brain. It's almost like a GPS. This is what I want to go. This is what I want to get to. So this is where I want to go. So it starts building a path. This universe is a magical place. I'll tell you how it works. So when actually the home that I live in, the view of the Albert Bridge on the river was on my vision board 15 years ago. So when I got married, and Sudhanshu lives in London, and he was showing me homes, he was showing me pictures of the home inside. And I said, oh, this is great. It looks lovely. The kitchen is fine. I was always concerned about the kitchen. But when I came home and I finally stepped into the balcony, I was shocked, because what I saw was exactly the picture of the Albert Bridge, which I had on my vision board. Why a vision board works is when you don't put too much stress on it. I want this, I want this, I want this. Then what happens is it's almost like a gardener, watering. If you hold the pipe too hard, you're not going to let universe take its course. So you put it out there, and there were people who would not believe, and my husband was one of them, and he's into human rights. So I made a vision board for him on the Nobel Peace Center. He was like, no, 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 don't be silly. I said, so don't you want to get the Nobel Peace Prize? No, 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 don't be silly. I said, there you go. Even to think, people are embarrassed to think big. So think big is between you and your vision board. And I said, it's not about getting the Nobel Peace Prize, but it's about getting the work aligned with the Nobel Peace Prize. So I put that up and he would laugh. And that's a very good place to be in, where you're not really desperate for it, but happy if it comes true. And then within 3 months, it's so bizarre, Doc. Within 3 months, we got a call from the Nobel Peace Center because they knew of the work I'd done in Pakistan.
Oslo.
And yes, and we were in Oslo with Malala and Kailash Satyarthi ji. And I could hear that song, because this is how the universe works. And NASA's done so much, work on this, that what we consistently see becomes a reality, because it builds filters into, where your brain is concerned. People can read on the reticular activating system, how this works. So fill up your home with things that remind you of what you desire, because otherwise you get lost with so much data that's coming in the day. And especially now when people are watching the news, make sure that you know the difference between addiction and awareness. Be aware and then get back to motivating yourself, nurturing yourself, where your goals and desires are concerned. So you're more productive, so you're more creative. And it's also something lovely to look at. When you wake up, you say, this is my goal. So I was telling my lovely editor at Penguin, Roshni, and I would tell Roshni, I had a penguin on my vision board, that I wanted the book to do well. I wanted the book to reach parents and children, and I would have a penguin there and my team members. So always make a vision board, even with you and business world. So it's a vision in my mind always. This is the way they'll be. This is the way the talk will go, and we'll have a growing audience. So always think about what you desire rather than be busy thinking about what you don't want.
Beautiful. Now tell me, what do you mean by the oxygen mask philosophy?
Yeah.
Tell our viewers it's a chapter in the book, the oxygen mask philosophy.
Yeah. So we've never come across parents, right, who say, I'm doing it perfectly. I'm so good, especially mothers, right? We always have that guilt. My goodness, we are not doing enough. We are not doing enough. What we want, and always parents are concerned, what can we do more for our children? And I say, just relax. That's the best thing. I also say, what's the best thing you can do for your child? Love your spouse. They love that. They love to see peace and harmony. The oxygen mask theory basically reminds you to wear the oxygen mask first. Like when you go into an aircraft and
self-care.
Yes.
What self-care?
Yes, it's about filling your own cup first, and mothers instantly, and fathers too, because you see, fathers take the weekend so seriously. They are so stressed working throughout the week, and they're thinking, oh my goodness, Saturday I have to do this, because they're almost guilty. They haven't spent time with their wives and their children. So it's about nurturing yourself. I've given a few mindfulness exercises. That what is it that you used to do before you were married? What is it that you used to do before you had children? And so do that, connect with your own inner child. And when you're fulfilled, you come back with a new mindset. You become much more patient. You're much more generous in relationships. And that's why mindfulness is so powerful, because it brings the focus back to you, brings the focus back to your inner child. So the oxygen mask theory is simple, that you must look after yourself first, because the relationship that you have with yourself will define the relationship you have with the relationship I have with you, with Kavi, with Tanvi, with Himani, with my husband, with my child, all the more.
Beautiful. Now, what is the role of decluttering? Your chapter on decluttering, how does clutter stop us from achieving what we want to? Of course, it's about energy.
Yeah, so actually, Einstein. So every chapter of mine starts with a quote by Einstein. Because why I chose Einstein, because he was such a unique child. He could not speak till the age of 4, and even after that, when he spoke, people couldn't understand him. So he he's a child that should remind every parent that, listen, his parents were really easy and they said, we've got a genius no matter what. And they knew that he will shine at that time. So he says something that, that why are people so concerned about cleanliness always, right? Being neat. So, if a messy table means a messy mind, what does an empty table signify? So this is a very interesting thing he said. And I talk about my childhood, my school, convent school, which was all about cleanliness and you have to be, prim and proper, perfect. And all that changed when I had Samaya. Because Samaya, with her 10 hands and 10 legs, was, ruining my white, pristine home in London. And I realized, wow, that they find creativity because they love messy play. And we need to redefine messy play. So we have to allow children to create a mess. And if you are the person who wants to create a mess, because there are people who, have a method in their madness with, and Sudhanshu, my husband, I mean, barrister, when he has a case, 100 books all around him, he's lost. So I have talked about the importance of messy play. And there could be parents, mostly parents like me, who want to keep everything clean. And so I've questioned that. But don't question a child who is messy. It's a very gifted and a creative child. They actually learn a whole lot of amazing things where law of gravity is concerned, time, all of this. When they play, where messy art is concerned, and why it's beautiful, because there's no wrong or right in creating a mess, and it's therapeutic, like pottery for that matter, or just dough. My goodness, why do children love Play-Doh? And have you seen parents play with it? They never stop themselves. So I've given parents an idea that you can actually orchestrate messy play, so that you're not then stressed about children destroying your home. So you can orchestrate it. Like, I have a dedicated messy play area. It's my restroom. My entire bathtub is now Samaya's messy play arena. So I've talked about the importance of letting go of this anxiety that we carry. Our homes have to look a certain way, and it's still work in progress for me. I still love to be, prim and proper where things are concerned, but I'm allowing Samaya her freedom to be as crazy as she likes.
Fantastic. At this point, I want to ask you my last question and let Kavi ask you a question. My last question is, what's your favorite book and why? I know you've read everything in Einstein, because there are anecdotes from Einstein and how Einstein would make simple things so humorous. He would take the seriousness, it don't, as you say in the book, it wouldn't be pompous that I know it. And he'd make it so real, like that incident in the train. Why don't you tell our viewers about the, incident in the train where the TT comes in and he can't.
Yeah, because Einstein is he's so childlike, at all times, and he's constantly is asked for the ticket, and he's the TC saying, "Don't worry, of course, I know you, you don't worry." He's saying, "No, that's not what I'm looking for, the ticket for. I want to remind myself, where is it that I'm going?"
Yes.
So he was so lost. He was so mindful that he was immersed in whatever would give him joy. And he talks about relativity also in such a loving term, about time. When you're kissing a girl, you have your hand on something warm on a hot stove. So
I read that.
Just interesting how childlike he always was, and he always talked about the power of love, which is amazing. So his letters to his daughter.
So what's your favorite book apart from your book? Can we put up? Can we put Raageshwari Loomba's latest book on the screen for viewers who may want to read it and benefit from it? We'd also like to thank Penguin and Ranjini Bora especially for making this happen. Can we have the book cover on the screen, please?
Raghav, doing that. Share that. Yeah, I'll take a minute. Just a second.
Yeah, so
till then,
take a second or a minute.
We'll talk about
1 minute.
Yeah. So why don't you ask your question, Kavi?
Sure, sir. Ma'am, so I wanted to ask you, what was the most challenging time of your life? And in hindsight, what were the lessons you learned and how you evolved from that challenge?
Firstly, hi, Kavi. How are you doing?
I'm good, ma'am.
Thank you for your question. So I would say, Kavi, today I don't look at it as a challenge. I look at challenges very differently, and it's thanks to that period. So it was my heartbreak and my facial paralysis.
That's the cover of the book, Building a Happy Family. 11
practices of mindful parenting.
It's I have a specs, and it's really small font on the screen.
Please don't hurry, Doc. They are for you.
And why 11? Because it's Shagun in the.
We were
why 11? Why not 10?
I was amazed when you said Shagun, and I said, my goodness, because I'd never thought of that. So that's amazing. But I'll tell you why 11 is because the number 11 follows me everywhere. Everywhere. I've seen it here, there. Samaya was supposed to be born on the 21st of February because Samaya was a breech baby, as you must have read. And then we had to have the operation on the 21st. I was really, really wanting to be mindful because I was stressed about this operation. But would you believe it? On the 10th night, whatever happened, which I've written in the book, and she was born on the 11th morning. And then the Mozart's, philosophy that I talk about, consistently hearing the Mozart Symphony, which is also number 11. So I see 11 everywhere. Perhaps life is asking me to pause, or perhaps it's showing me the doorway, or it's the good Shagun, which I really love. So
1 plus 1 is, it's togetherness.
Togetherness, how lovely. That is lovely. So you see, it's such a beautiful insight that you've added to my love for number 11.
So you're answering Kavi's question.
Gee. So Kavi, that's I would say my toughest period in my life. But today when I look back on it with great love. I'm like, thank you for making me go through that. Not that I was an unkind person before that, but I've become a fearless person after that. Really fearless. I am authentic. I really don't get worried, about challenges and failures because sort of nothing defines you. Even a book doesn't define you. A business doesn't define you. Marriage, motherhood, nothing. What defines you are your core values. So I've learned that, Kavi. And so it just liberated me.
Ma'am, and how has being a mother changed your connection with your inner self and other aspects of life?
If you know me closely, I mean, people know me through, if they saw me on MTV, everything that I did, I would play all these bizarre characters. It has brought me much more closer to the child within me. And it's really made me, understand, my goodness, we adults or, these children who are bigger children, my goodness, we have just lost the art of living life. They're so amazing, little ones. They go and meet everyone without any prejudice. They forgive so quickly. They're so easy. I don't want to eat, so it's fine. You want to eat, great, go ahead and eat. They have no fears about being judged. Like, look at a little toddler walking. He's not concerned walking that who's looking at me, left or right. Am I going to do well or no? He's just happy. He's focused. I want to go for this task and I know I will. And they end up walking beautifully. So that's what we can learn. Instead of consistently worrying about, will this get me the rewards? Will this get me the award? The award and the reward is now. If you just enjoy the process, that's your reward. So for me, just having this conversation is fabulous. Jim Carrey said an amazing thing, right? I wish I could give everyone an Oscar so that everyone could wake up in the morning and realize it's no big deal. Ultimately, it's about how happy you can be. The degree of how happy you can be without anything.
Good. There are a lot of people who want to ask questions. But, some people want you to sing a song.
Sure.
Dunya. So, why would we let you go without singing a song?
Of course. My goodness, I'm immersed in singing nursery rhymes right now, but Dunya for sure. Okay. मैंने देखे हैं सभी रंग दुनिया के, अरे हाँ ये दुनिया बड़ी रंगीली, ताररीरारा ताररीरारा ताररीरारा, हर रस में नया है नशा इसके, अरे हाँ ये दुनिया बड़ी नशीली, ताररीरारा 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 ताररीरारा.
I heard this song after 18, 19 years. So, it's still kind of makes you happy. You know, music is such a relaxer. There is a chapter in your book on how music is important for mindfulness and how it aids mindfulness. I want to bring two more people who want to ask questions on the screen. And Vaishali Arora is saying, amazing voice, ma'am. The person who requested the song was a person called Anup Sarkar. Tanvi wants to ask a question. Anup Kocher. Mr. Anup Kocher had suggested the song. Anup, she's already sung that song. So, you know, I'm sure you're happy. Tanvi, you want to ask a question? Go ahead.
Yeah.
So my question is, as we grow older, and our parents also grow older, somewhere the child becomes the parent and the parent becomes the child. So does these 11 mindful practices also apply when the child is becoming the parent and the parent is becoming the child? I would like your thoughts on that.
It's a beautiful question, an insightful question, and absolutely yes, because you see, mindfulness connects you, at least this is how I see it, connects you to the family that lives within. So even if you're a single person, you have a family living within, as in all these little children, right, who have grown up with these beliefs connected to your childhood. Someone is fearful, someone is not, someone is very active, or someone wants to take risks, while someone is the safe one. Don't take your chances. So what happens is when you just calm the negative little children within you and you just become mindful, each and every relationship actually thrives. You become more productive, you become creative, but most importantly, you become a generous being and understanding, because you're now emotionally intelligent, understanding that how children need your patience, and so do our elders. And
Ma'am, sorry, ma'am. Please go on.
And every relationship for that matter, it's not defined. I mean, my husband and me, we have a beautiful bond. Everyone who meets us tells us that is because we change our roles. You think as a wife, I can't be a mother or a sister or a friend or a lover or a nurturer. We have to redefine our roles. If we consistently stick to just being the wife, we will not understand the emotions connected, which a mothering nature can. A sister can befriend him. A buddy can ease the stress. So it's about your definitions. So I want us humans to understand firstly that we're infinite and we can actually follow all these different roles. The moment we do, every relationship will thrive, because your partner, your parents will say, oh my goodness, I didn't understand you were capable of this, because actually the truth is that you are. Sorry, Kabir.
Ma'am, I just got a memory. My father, he plays golf. After golf, he was going in his car. He had to drive, and my mother was driving the other car when we went to join him for lunch. And when we were coming back, they started racing against each other. So I was in my mother's car, and my father was in. And I was the one who was saying, Mom, slow down. This is dangerous. Dad, please slow down. I'm on the phone. I called them. Just slow down, please. I'm getting scared. So it was like, they were the children.
My parents are now 81 and 79. I do the same on some things, but mostly I'm the child. So I have two children now. I want to bring some other guests. Himani, Tanvi, do we have other people who want to ask? I can see questions. If you want to bring somebody on the screen, otherwise I'll ask my last question and wrap it up.
Yes, sir. You asked your last question. We are getting two more people.
We have Vineet Mehra here, who has asked a question. Vineet, please ask your question.
Hi, Vineet. Hi.
Hi, Raageshwari. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Vineet. Lovely to be connected. I have a lovely friend called Vineet Mehra. वो तो नहीं है Canada के.
I'd asked you earlier as well. So you talked about, loving your spouse. And what about in today's world about separated parents? And, how do you sort of advise that 15 minutes of connect or a joy?
I have talked about
so that. I think that's the, question that I want you to answer. How do you sort of say the yes all the time when you hear all the no every time from the other end?
So firstly, thank you for your question. Such a powerful question. Now, and I've talked about this in the book. Would you believe it that divorce is not bad at all? Not that we want to chase it, but if you've come to that point where, you're divorcing emotionally, physically, and, in the legal terms, as they call it, is not bad. Because you see, we've bought into the social definition, right? That relationships have to last forever. And also we choose our partners for wrong decisions. social definitions again. Are we choosing them? Listen, this is going to be a fantastic growing opportunity. This is a companion for me, and this is how I will grow. Then we will choose partners differently. Usually women, I'm talking about the percentage. Mostly they choose partners because I think this is going to be financially comfortable for me. Men choose for whatever reasons. They may think that, oh, she looks a certain way, she behaves a certain way, but it's not that soul to soul, that deep, authentic connect. Now, if you've reached that place where you wish to separate and divorce, it's fine. Children get used to that. As science proves, they get used to separation. But what they do not like is when you separate without being amicable. So even when you have arguments, it's okay for your child to see that as long as you are resolving an argument with love, with respect, being firm about what you want, but ending it amicably on a loving note. So children get the amazing message that, hey, it's okay to have an opinion and it's okay for people to not agree with me, but this is the way you must end an argument. Hug, embrace, okay, fine, great, I don't agree with you, but fine, I will accept it. Okay, so if you're separating, separate with love, harmony, and respect. Because when spouses bring each other down, it impacts the child psychologically on a deep level, because children see themselves as half of mama and half of papa. So when you bring each other down, they see half of them being humiliated or betrayed or, called names. Now, if you are wanting to have a peaceful separation and probably finding great difficulty from the other end, I think the strongest message I can give, which works brilliantly if you believe it, as Einstein said, raise your frequency to what you want rather than what you don't want. So from now on, you will start thinking about your ex partner in only positive light. And you're going to imagine, and if you visualize it, if you do it mindfully, if you meditate over it, you'll see the changes come very, very fast. What happens is that it changes your perception, and most importantly, it changes your behavior now with the person. So don't worry about the other side of the street, Vineet. You go ahead and walk the journey of being peaceful, of being a fabulous father, of being a harmonious father, and that's it. The rest will follow. Control what you can. Let go of controlling the others. The more you let go of control, the more it will come back to you. So that's the beauty. So I hope this helps. And Alpha Silver Mind Control over raising the frequency about your perception where your ex-partner is concerned. Good luck with much love.
Thank you. I just want to end by asking my last question. You didn't answer. What is your other favorite book? Or many favorite books apart from yours?
Favorite book, but what's coming to my mind is Ask and Thou Shall Receive, Esther Hicks. Because
lovely book.
Super. Oh, you've read them all. So, and lovely, beautiful philosophy, spirituality, and really powerful, really powerful. I love her entire explanation on ask and thou shall receive. That focus on what you want. Your prayers should be all about what you want. Your conversations with loved ones should be about what you want. Clarity about what you want rather than complaining. Because you see, our films, our TV shows are all about that, right? Regret, complain, blame. We're giving the power away. So bring the power back with love, kindness, and clarity.
Beautiful. Raageshwari, when we meet you 5 years from now, what would you be doing?
Definitely associating with business world, because I know, we're going to be doing so many lovely things. I hope 5 years from now, Doc, my husband has learned Hindi, and then hopefully, he's given the permission to have write to an audience in India. Never know. Me working much more in India. That's of
never
course.
Say never. Never say never.
Never.
So I'll tell you I want to end by one of the most fun chats, and I've been less nervous than I am. It may not look to anybody that I'm nervous, but then I have been. Thank you for making me comfortable. It's a book that I gifted to our common friend 15 years back. It's a book called Tuesdays with Maury by Mitch Albom. To Raj, I gave it to Raj and he loved it. That's one of my favorite books. And a book that I read about 7-8 years back called The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch.
I've not read that.
So you must read this book and you must watch The Last Lecture. Go to YouTube. It's a 1 hour 15 minutes. I mean, you're already enlightened. You're already
No,
on
no.
that path. You know,
No,
at least
but
you
it's
are
on the path.
mindful. You're mindful. You're mindful. You'll love it. Read the book, of course. I'm a little old-fashioned. I like reading the book, but watch the video, and you'll love it. It's called The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch, and then you could watch the 4 minutes that he does on the Oprah Winfrey show. So he died, and when you see, you'll know what I'm talking of. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise,
we wish you luck on your journey, and wish you luck with your work with the corporates on making them mindful, more mindful, and we wish you luck in bringing up a fantastic family. Thank you. God bless you. We'll see you another time. Thank you.